Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about Mexico City now that I'm back home. One, I loved it. Mexico City was so nice. I know I loved it if I was trying to find a ticket while I was there to come back in April. So I loved it, and but what I didn't love and what was really horrible was the airports in Mexico. And I just have to say that I was so agitated. I tried to make a video yesterday, but if you're going to Mexico, get a direct flight. This is not for a person who has not traveled. You need to be well traveled to understand and finagle those airports, in my opinion. I had a layover in Cancun, and it was horrible both ways. I think that they have a terminal that has more domestic flights. That's what I'm guessing. And that terminal maybe is a little worse to navigate than the other one. But when you have a layover, you can be in another terminal altogether, and it is very unclear. I literally had to go through customs for a layover, go outside in the heat and the humid, and there was a swarm of taxi cab people in uniform. They're Mexican taxi cab services, and they're just like, taxi, you want taxi, you want taxi, you want taxi. And I'm like, no, I'm on a layover. I'm not staying here. But guess what? I did need that taxi. I had to catch a taxi to the other terminal, and it took a while to figure that out. And me relying on complete strangers to explain the situation in a foreign language. So I saw a lot of people say, you need some Spanish. Well, you do. I mean, I just think that goes without saying. I'm not one of those people who thinks that you go to a country and try to get a person in their country to communicate with you in your language. That's just rude and uncouth, in my opinion. So that goes without saying. And I know a little Spanish, enough to get myself through, and getting better over the years. But yes, it was something. And it was bad enough that I felt like, I love this city, but I don't know that I want to come back, because I don't want to deal. It was that horrendous. And that's why I wanted to make the video yesterday on my first day home, to kind of explain it while it was fresh in my head. Because, no, it was horrible. And I've repeated the story more than once, so I don't know if I even want to tell you all the details. But coming back was just as bad. And I had a long layover coming back, and on that layover, there was a terminal I was told that had nowhere to sit. People were kind of staked out on the few seats that were there, laying down. So you're left with sitting on the floor, and there was no place to plug or charge your devices, which I couldn't believe that. And even when I got to my terminal and was going to catch the flight, I was looking for chargers so I can plug in immediately, so I'll have my, iPad completely charged on the plane. And I couldn't find any. And I finally did. So there are a few, and there were some that's under the seat, like in the food court area. So I did overlook that. I didn't know those were there. But yeah, in terms of Mexico City, it was fun. The people were nice, but non-intrusive. The Uber drivers, they just drive you. They're not interested in chatting with you and all of that. And that's fine. I like it because it feels more like a city, like being in New York, where people are just living their life. But the good thing is, when you do interact with anybody there, every single person was nice. They were kind. They were warm. They were helpful. They tried to communicate with you, even if they recognized that you didn't know the language. You know, they weren't rude about it. So a lot of the things that I watched and saw and that was talked about with Mexico City was legit. You need the language. I didn't want to do all the museums. I don't know. I don't, and I like museums, but that's not what I go on vacation for, unless it's just something really outstanding that I just have to see. Even in Egypt, I didn't do the museums. So that's that. I'm about to go into a museum right now, an exhibit. So that's that. I have more to talk about because tomorrow I'm going to Houston and then in a couple of days, Seattle. So